Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, absurdism in the extreme. It's all available here in the Tales from the Omni Vault book series. Check the description for Amazon links so you can get your copies and start reading today. Thank you all, and now, on to the video. It has come up a couple times now. Dinosaurs keep coming up, music keeps coming up. You and I first got in contact with each other because of the reissuing of the Dinosaur Tracks albums that you've done. You did with Pete Von Scholly. So, I'm sure people who have seen the video or listened to the albums would love to hear some insights about that.
Well, I can tell you how it started. First of all, I was asked to do a cable access talk show. And I asked the producer, can we do it on dinosaurs? That's never been done, a talk show. I'll be up there, I have a pretty young lady who was my assistant, and we'll bring guests on and talk about real paleontology and movies and toys. I mean, the whole gestalt of everything, He's okay. And he showed me one of the shows he'd done, which had some really lame opening music. I said, I don't want to have that music opening my show. I am a musician, and I can write music, and I can play it. And I teamed up with Pete Von Scholly, and so we did the song Dinosaur Tracks. And the show went 3 episodes. I don't know if anybody ever watched it. But, and then the producer, Kevin Glover, said, hey, I really like that song you did. If you can come up with 5 more songs, or if you can come up with some more of those songs, I can shoot music videos on them. I said, that'd be great. And so I got together with Pete Von Scholly again, who did the first Dinosaur Tracks with me. And before you knew it, we kept coming up with one song after another. And before you know it, we had an album. So the first 6 were to be on the first video. And the director, I wrote the scripts, and then Pete was going to do the next 6. Pete never did it, and we could never get him motivated to do it. But the first 6, the director was clueless. He didn't know. He had no idea what they were about or what they entailed or what. So he quit. So the producer was going to pull the plug on the whole idea of the videos. I said, look, give me a chance. I'll do it for free. If it doesn't work out, I'll just walk away. But if it does work out, we'll do more. So we shot 5 more stories. We had 5 more videos. So we had this whole package. And then we did a wraparound with Doc Dino, who was like a DJ character who introduced them all. And before you know it, we got all it jazzed up, and Kevin got more jazzed. And let's do a second album. And that led to a third album. So we ended up with 36 songs. But I didn't want to do Barney and something like that. There were a lot of kiddie records at the time, And I said, I don't want to do anything like that. I want to do something that an adult can play at a party without getting embarrassed. So Pete was all excited about that. And, but let's make them educational too, so the kids who are listening to the songs will learn something. Each song will have at least 1 or 2 hardcore scientific facts. But we'll do it in an entertaining, fun way. And then I got the idea. I said, why don't we do each one because both Pete and I were former rock and rollers, musicians, and we had our own reputation to live up to. We didn't want to be embarrassed either. So let's do each one in the style of a different era and a different artist of rock and roll history. So let's do one that sounds like the Beatles. Let's do one that sounds like Elvis. We did one that was a combination of Dave Brubeck and Bo Diddley, if you can imagine that. We did one sound like the Doors. We did one sound like John Lennon, one like Creedence Clearwater Revival, one like Elvis, and just kept going on and on. One like Buddy Holly, one like Hart, and we just had a great time doing it. And you gave a great review. I'm glad you understood what we were trying to do, and I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you do. And I think you achieved exactly what you set out to do with them. They have become some of my favorite rock albums ever. Like I've so wanted there to be dinosaur themed music, and not the Barney variety, not that sort of thing. And the movie soundtracks are great too, but to have songs like that, and they're like, it's not just generic rock and roll. You throw in the word brontosaurus every once in a while. They really move forward with. I feel like I'm tripping over my words here. I'll have to edit this out. I'm glad we're not live right now. Anyway, I think of stuff like nomenclature blues, where you're working in all these long Latin names.
And the funny thing about that song was that was our Delta Blues. That was an imitation of one of the Rolling Stones' early songs. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the title. But some of those names have been reinstated since the song came out. And one of the toughest ones to do was Dinosaurs Rule. That was the combination of Bo Diddley and Dave Brubeck, because it had 3 time changes. It went from 3/4 to 4/4 to 5/4, or whatever the order was. And I went in the studio, and we didn't have a drummer, we had a drum machine. And my engineer said, my machine can't do that. It's impossible. I said, well, sure, you can do it. And I thought about it for a second and said, just give me like 4 minutes of a solid bass drum beat, and then show me where the snare drums come in. And I'll play with my finger by hand. I'll tap in the time changes, and then Pete and I'll do the music. And it worked out beautifully. You would never know. But that one, they told me we couldn't do, and we did it. So there.
Exactly. When people say it can't be done, the proper response is watch me, right?
Oh, push me in a corner and tell me I can't do it. That's when I come up with the best, most creative and cost-saving solutions.
And of course, when you sent those albums, you also included the soundtrack for I Was a Teenage Movie Maker, which was the compilation of your different amateur films. And that was sort of, that wasn't arcade, it was Arcadillo.
That was another thing. When I originally played those movies out in my basement with our friends, we would play records, and a lot of those 1950s movies with the teenage werewolf and the teenage Frankenstein and all that, we would play like Rumble, by Link Ray, a lot of those Dwayne Eddy songs and things that go along with the movies. Well, I couldn't use those songs on my CD. We'd have to pay a lot of people a lot of big bucks. So I called up a friend of mine. After the Penny Arcade, I was in a band called the Armadillo, which was like an outgrowth of the Penny Arcade. And one of our guitar players was David Price, who'd worked with the Monkees. But anyway, we're still friends. And I called him up. I said, can we do a couple just tracks that I had some background music for those songs, done in 1950s style of instrumentals, Dwayne Eddy and Link Ray and Bill Justice and people like that. He said, okay, and he, in the meantime, had built a recording studio in his home. So we went in there, and I'm kind of writing the song in my mind on the way up in the car. I mean, I really didn't know where it was going to go. And we kind of ad-libbed it. And like Dinosaur Tracks, I wanted to have different sounds for different movies. We kept coming up with more and more songs until we finally had about 10 of them. I said, let's do 12. Let's make an album out of it. So that's how that came about. And so David, nicknamed Spider, David Spider Price and I together. I played bass guitar and maybe a little bit of rhythm guitar. He played most of the guitars, and I also played some keyboards. And we did a whole album called "I Was a Teenage Movie Maker."
It also sounds good. I think I'll try blasting that at Halloween this year. I think it'll be appropriate.